This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is John Chamolf. John is part of the Holocaust Remembrance Organization Committee that puts on events each April, which is Holocaust Remembrance Month, correct? I'm getting that right?
That's right,
It is.
thanks.
John, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me here.
You're a professor at Coe College.
Yes, I teach a little bit of international studies and a little bit of German, and then I also teach a course on the Holocaust, so it's an interest area.
And how long have you been associated with the Remembrance Committee?
I don't know exactly. I think at least 10 years, although it started up the same year that I came to Co in 1995, and I've been attending its events since then, so I really feel like I've kind of grown up at Co with the committee and with the things that it does.
April is the month, as I said, that's been designated the time to remember the Holocaust. But we are very lucky here in Eastern Iowa in that the Thaler Fund has funded this special speaker series now for many years, which brings someone, usually a Holocaust survivor, to our community for some events. So who is coming this year?
So this year we have Rachel Goldman-Miller. She is now from St. Louis. Her family is originally from Poland, but she was born in Paris. So they moved with the family to Paris in the 1930s, and she was then born there in the early 30s. And her family was then in Paris when the Nazis rolled into Paris in 1940.
And then, so she was then in one of the camps then?
So she has an interesting. She was a child then, and children had different ways of surviving this experience. And some did go to camps. She didn't. In 1941, the Nazis took away her father. And her family quickly tried making some adjustments, and the adjustments they made with her was sending her into hiding. They took her to the countryside and deposited her with a Christian family. And she went into hiding and took on a new identity, a new name, the name Christine, and was able to survive just by not being discovered.
Mm-hmm.
3 days after she was deposited with the family, the authorities came and picked up the rest of her family. So all the rest of them were taken to camps and eventually murdered, and she was really the sole survivor.
Wow. And that's a different story. It's really when you think of people in hiding, Diary of Anne Frank is the thing that we all think. But this is a case where she was hidden in plain sight.
That's exactly right. Hidden in plain sight. Anne Frank, hidden behind a wall in Amsterdam. But there were also lots of people in various countries who were able to take on new identities as children or as adults, and just sort of fly under the radar and manage to survive. So it's a remarkable story, however it happened, and hers had, at least in her case, a happy ending.
Much different than the experience that we normally hear about, but I'm sure that in her presentation she has to talk about this dual identity, this other identity that she had to live under, and that has to be some post-traumatic stress associated, not only losing your family, but also the memories of having to be somebody else.
Yep. No, I think you're exactly right. It's probably something that was easier at a young age, before she had really grown accustomed to her identity. And I do think kids, when they're 7 years old, 7, 8, they're kind of pliable in that way. And that may have also worked to her benefit, to be able to more seamlessly become this second person.
So Rachel is coming to the community to do several different events. Where and when are those going to be?
Yeah, so she has 4 public events that everyone is invited to come to. The first one is Sunday, April 14th at Coe College. That's the Yom HaShoah Memorial Service. It's a more truncated, an abbreviated presentation by Rachel, but it's as part of an interesting and very inclusive service that really makes room for everyone, and it's a neat thing to be a part of. Although she will be speaking more briefly at that than at the others. For her fuller presentation, you could come to Mount Mercy on Monday, April 15th at 7 p.m. She'll be here at Kirkwood and Ballantine Auditorium on Tuesday morning. That's at 11:15, and then Tuesday evening, 6:30 at Cornell College.
Okay, and these events are all free?
Those are all free, and they're all open to the public. She will be speaking to some student classes in between, but those are really for the particular particular schools.
And if people want to see, get these events on your website, yeah, they can go to the website, and that's the easiest way to take a look and get figure out where everything is going to be and the times and everything.
That's right. They can go to the specific schools, but they can also come to the website holocausteducate.org, and it has information on all of the programs.
John, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
John Chamoff from the Holocaust Remembrance Committee. Again, holocausteducate.org if you'd like to find out more about any of Rachel's appearances while she's here in Eastern Iowa. You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most Thursdays and Fridays at 10:20, or download the podcast, watch or listen on your own schedule using your favorite podcast catcher, or at kcck.org/culture. I'm Dennis Green.